Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the Back to the TARDIS podcast, the podcast where we take a look at every single episode of the 2005 revival of BBC's Doctor Who. I'm Jeff.
I'm Aurora, otherwise known as Miss Barely appearing in this episode.
Yeah. Next up, we have your replacement.
Fuck.
Oh, is it my turn? Am I going first? Okay.
Yeah, I guess.
I
so.
insist
I
on going
guess
last.
so.
Sorry.
I guess that's how we're doing.
All right. Here to complete my character arc. Hi, I'm Elise. I'm 20 now. I learned how to read.
And hi, I'm Service Demon. I'm also here.
And this week we are discussing Series 10, Episodes 7 and 8, The Pyramid at the End of the World and The Lie of the Land. Pyramid is written by it's Peter Harness and Stephen Moffat, and then Lie of the Land is Toby Whithouse. These cap off the Monks trilogy and are very divisive. I will say this. I know I have shit-talked The Lie of the Land before. I still think it has some problems, but at least it's not 45 minutes of spinning its wheels like Pyramid at the End of the World.
Yeah, that was the first
True.
thing I noticed was I liked Lie of the Land significantly more than Pyramid.
I liked it more, but I wouldn't entirely describe the first part as spinning its wheels. I don't know. I think it's like it's going somewhere the whole time. I think it's an appropriate tension buildup, even if I do like the second part more.
Maybe, yeah, it might
Fair
just
enough.
be because I'm like used enough to this arc that it's just like, oh, this is just a whole lot of nothing, and also the entire plot revolves around utter stupidity.
I don't know if
Like-
I agree with
Yeah.
that.
It's kinda
No. I'm sorry. They're in a lab which has the potential to make virulently deadly bacteria by just a simple fuck up, and their procedure to get rid of that is to flush it into the atmosphere instead of something else.
I think that is precisely the kind of fuck up that scientists would make dumbly. Well, because like clearly it's not like they didn't anticipate that they would make that sort of thing.
Right,
It's
but
just
if you're
sort of like-
dealing, if you're dealing in a field where this is hypothetically possible, this is like, oh, we're in the vaccine engineering lab trying to engineer vaccines. Uh-oh, we accidentally made super COVID. We got to get rid of it. Uh-oh, our facility's way of flushing stuff is to just flush super COVID directly into the atmosphere.
This is the lab leak that everyone was talking about. No, I'm definitely on Jeff's team more with this one. I think I'm kinder to the episode, to the arc this time around, but it's still a disappointing follow-through from the excellent setup we got in the first kind of prequel of this arc.
Also, like, so legitimately, here is kind of my biggest problem with the episode, and with both episodes, and if I missed something, then fine, sure, that's on me, and I will totally look like a dumbass if I miss this. Why are they here? What do they gain from this? Why do they want to do any of this?
Well, I don't know. I guess that didn't really bother me too much because it's just like sort of a clear fascism allegory.
Fascism has an ideology, though.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Like-
and you get that represented here. It's very clearly like the V for Vendetta type people.
I think the closest we get to an ideology is like the Doctor's fake ideology for why he fake joins them.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Weird Doctor
Which
is
I think
so
that would have
frustrating.
I think that would have worked better emotionally if like if Bill decided to fake join them and then like that breaks the Doctor's heart. But that's another thing.
Yeah, no, it's like, and I can totally see how this is a failing of as I think we've talked about before, and we will mention again, these episodes, this part of the Monks arc was written when Moffat was dealing with serious like family health issues, so like I understand why it's rough. But that doesn't mean that it's not kind of rough in parts. And it's literally, it is just like, okay, the Daleks don't need to necessarily gain, Daleks don't necessarily gain anything from invading because their ideology is to just kill everyone. Cybermen gain stock to convert people by invading. Whenever you invade, like, when people invade or colonize places, they do it for a reason. They just kind of show up and invade everyone and do like this like fascist iconography, ideology, all of that just cuz. And I think there's definitely a potential here for them to have done something with that. But the fact of the matter is that they really, really don't. And it kind of kills the whole thing for me.
I think Pyramid could have been completely rewritten from scratch, and you could have kept Extremis and Lie of the Land, and it would have been much better.
Or just done some minor rewrites to Lie of the Land. Yeah.
Yeah. To me, it was implied that they were on Earth for like resources and shit, but they never say that in the text. I don't think. So
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say this right now because I have to dip very soon. But just this feels very Sorry guys. The monks are about to snatch me.
Oh no.
Among Us, I'm the imposter. Lay Reddit meme. Poggers.
Aurora vented.
Yes.
No.
But yeah, this very much feels like first, second draft type stuff. I won't even get into the whole like more like just moon logic of like the politics of like everything that's going on with like the pyramids and how the Doctor gets involved. It's like very clearly trying to be like this mid-series like adventure epic, two-parter thing. It doesn't, there's potential there, and it's sad because the potential is fully realized in the setup, but just not in the conclusion. Still better than I remember it. And I'll just say right now, I give it a strong 6 to a light 7, and I'm gonna dip with that. But y'all have fun arguing and proving why Jeff and I are wrong, because as we should in a based and red-pilled democracy. But I'm gonna hop off. You can follow me on Twitter at Ahura Borealis while the ship is still semi-sinking. And, have fun, nerds. Bye.
Bye.
All right.
Okay, so I have a question for you, Jeff.
Okay.
So I only I didn't get to rewatch Extremis for this because I didn't think I had time. All I did was listen to the podcast episode. So I wonder how many vault keys the Doctor got after Extremis. Like did he get an S rank? Where do you hide red rings in Vatican City? That's
if you want to know what the fuck we're talking about, buy Sonic Frontiers on PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox
How did I know
One,
this was about
Xbox
Sonic?
Series S and X, Nintendo Switch, or Microsoft Windows.
I somehow knew that was about Sonic. It was like Sonic was my first guess in Final Fantasy 14.
Because
was my second
I'm
guess
here.
because
Yeah,
I expect
Because
you
I'm
to be
here.
talking about Final Fantasy 14.
No, like
That was my cold open idea that I mentioned that I had.
Yeah, I figured it was gonna be something I figured it was gonna be something to do with Sonic. Okay, so here this also Lie of the Land also falls into the same problem that I kind of have with the series 3 two-parter, which is there just
Which one?
isn't enough time spent in this dramatically altered world state. And they have to wrap up. There isn't enough time spent, and they can't just leave this they can't just leave this massive change, so they have to revert back to the status quo in a way that is extreme. Like, okay,
Yeah, that's fucking stupid.
I am a Kingdom
It was
Hearts
so
fan.
stupid.
I understand that if I criticize the power of love triumphing here, that I am a massive fucking hypocrite. That being said, I can absolutely criticize the fuck out of them just trying to hand wave the fact that the monks were here, and then that's so clearly like first draft.
We thought they were like filming or something.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
know.
awful. I hate it.
I think that line in particular was incredibly dumb, but I think the doctor's like justification after it that they erased their presence on the way out. I don't know. I buy that.
They could have just said that and just not
Yeah.
even gone with the bit, because I don't remember they erased their presence on the way out. I remember people just don't really care, I guess.
Okay,
Because that's way stupider, and they say
I
it
agree with
first.
that.
Yeah.
I think that is
Yeah.
like a little roughness in the script, and I think they should have just said the second thing. And I'm just gonna pretend like the second thing is the only description there because I think that makes
Yeah.
more sense.
That's one of the things I remembered as being a problem.
Yeah.
I wrote notes on this like we were gonna do a whole big in order conversation about the whole thing.
That hasn't been how this show has rolled for a long time.
To be fair, that is how we did it when I was on last time. So
Yeah.
I just forgot.
Yeah, no, it's I will so I to backtrack a bit, all I will say is that I do not have very much to say about Pyramid at the and I admit that part of the problem here, I think, is the fact that I've already seen it multiple times. If I didn't know where it was going, I might be more invested. But now that I know, and I tried to watch it again, and it was just like fridge noise, because it's just like, I know you're not going anywhere.
So my experience with it was like, so I have seen this episode 3 times total. I saw it when it aired. I saw it once more when I was doing another. I did another Stephen Moffat run after you guys started the podcast.
I think that's about what I did too.
Then
when
I watched it for
aired.
this.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, my instinct was like to turn my brain off and like not, just let the episode kind of take me wherever it wanted. And I was like, no, I can't. I'm writing notes for a podcast. So what happened was I was like remembering everything about this episode, and I was like, oh, it's this episode with the which I hadn't even registered the past couple of times I watched it. But the world-ending stakes thing to me is literally just constructed of contrivances. And like
Yes.
it also like they try to write around it by like the way the doctor's narrating it when that part starts out is like, they try to be like, oh, this is fine, I guess. I don't know. I'm not remembering it really. I think it was like somewhere the pieces are already falling into place or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, all the little tidbits that I don't like link back into the story and like help the story, and I'm like, can you stop, please?
Yeah. Well,
Basically
and
is what
also, so honestly, like, I feel like I feel like okay, so there's another thing that I just realized of like, oh, this could actually be a really satisfying conclusion to this. So, like, this would unfortunately result in losing Lie of the Land. So like you could do a rewrite where you fix Lie of the Land up a little bit and fix Pyramid up, or you could do a rewrite where uh either Pyramid is just the second part and it's just a two-parter, or you do two parts of Pyramid. But I think you could make a very compelling story by having the final result be that like the way that the monks know all of this is because they've studied the planet and run a bunch of simulations, right? That's what Extremis was.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like you could make a very satisfying episode conclusion by basically saying that the complete unpredictability of humanity will absolutely destroy whatever planned simulation you have had every single time.
Eh, I don't know. Okay, I think that's good, but I don't understand why that's any different than like the power of love or whatever.
I'm not saying no, because again, I'm saying I don't think I actually have a problem with the power of love. It is just other like contrivances and issues in the plot. As I said, I initially thought it was a little hokey, but then I also said that like again, I am a Kingdom Hearts fan. If I criticize this, I am a massive hypocrite. Um, yeah. And the other so this also like I've complained about this before. And this is like another case where it has reared its head where they go, when we were in emergency, the doctor is declared fucking president of the world, and then nobody treats him like he is the president of like he is the commander in chief. Like
Yeah.
even like it's like I like you don't
To be
need
fair,
to do that. You don't need to do right, but like if this is the case, why is he even president of the world in the first place?
Is
It
that
Okay,
doesn't
but
really
carried over
but-
from Series 9? I feel like I remember it's carried over from Series 8 or 9.
right, but right, but I
something.
had the same complaint there. My point is that in both of these cases, it doesn't really feel like him being made president of the world actually matters in any meaningful capacity, and they could have just done another they could have just kept rolling with the he's the doctor and they trust him, or maybe don't trust him, but you know.
okay, what I was gonna say is, to be fair, there is an entire plot point about how they're willing to disobey orders to do what they think is right for the Earth, which is a little contrived, but I think gives some reason as to why they're willing to just like not listen to him here.
Yeah. um and ultimately, while I think like it's okay, so it's weird, right? Because like basically the end state of this episode is the monks win because the doctor is placed into a situation where he needs his eyesight to stop the end of the world. And by that that's how Bill says no, fine, you can do this, I consent. But if that's from a plotting standpoint, that's what the episode needed to hit its end game. Why would you write the most absurd series of contrivances to get there when there are so many easier ways that you could get to this? Because it's not like it's some specific weakness or flaw that is being taken advantage of. It's the fact that he can't see. There's so much shit that you can do with that. Like, it could literally just be like a bomb or something. Why does it have to be this?
Yeah. My the I what?
I just suddenly had.
We're just making
I don't.
noises.
I don't know why, but that just randomly gave like the idea of contrivances revolving around him being blind gave me just this vivid image of the doctor trying to punch the combination code into his chastity cage because he needs to like fuck someone to save the world.
Oh
And
my
he's like,
god.
"Oh no, I can't do it because I'm blind.
God.
The penis is willing, but the eyes are not."
The penis at the end of the world.
Like the
I'm so
legend
s-
of the penis.
Yeah. Oh
Um.
my god.
Anyways, yeah. No, I think the Lie of the Land does, and I think part of that also probably is because Moffat like shunted it off to somebody else as opposed to this where it was like Moffat has a partial writing credit on it. It definitely is a lot better. I think again it suffers from it has to it has to radically change the world, but when doing that it's still limited to 45 minutes or realistically like 35 minutes realistically of what it's allowed to play around in before they have to reset everything. So I think that's a major drawback. As I've mentioned, I have some issues with the ending. Um, and as I didn't mention it on the podcast, um, but damn, I can't believe that Stephen Moffat managed to come up with a trashier regeneration fake out than the one that RTD did. That shit is so trashy.
This is my hot take. This is why I wanted to star in this episode. I thought it was fine. And I thought it
I
was
also
fine
think it
even
was
on
No,
fine.
rewatch.
okay, so here's the thing.
It didn't bother me.
Here's the thing, right?
The things
In
surrounding
the
it bothered me,
episode,
but I like
in the episode, yes, in the episode itself, it's fine. However, you don't do something like that and not plan around that being used in the trailers.
Was it used in the trailers?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it was.
Okay, that's
It
fair.
absolutely was. I remember.
This is structured like it could be a finale. If it were a finale, I think he probably would have actually regenerated right then.
Yeah. Well, see, this is the thing, right? This is the thing. And, like, this is my ultimate thing with cop-out with like, fake-out regenerations. I think that's pussying out and they should go for it every time. Both of those times I'm like, no, don't be a coward. Do it. Go all the way. Just drop one on us without, like, a surprise new doctor. Like, I understand the BBC probably wouldn't let them, but, like, fucking do it.
No balls. You won't.
Yeah.
No balls.
Um,
Bet. Do it. Bet.
Yeah.
You won't.
Yeah. So, yeah. Even then it's still like a little like, wow, that's a little.
It's also like even though I thought it was kind of fine in the episode, the regeneration itself like makes sense because she had her like they had her shoot him, which my issue with that scene is Weird Doctor is really really out of character and not fun to watch, and like
Yeah. It's
like,
like, okay,
he
yeah,
says
yeah,
barbarism
that's
at one point.
like
and
if
it's
they
what? What character
if
is this?
they
You know?
if they had done it in series 8, it would have worked.
Yeah.
If
maybe
it's
It
too
would've
late
had to been
now.
a little. They would have had to rewrite it a little, but it would have worked in Series 8, I think.
Yeah. Like, at this point, we are too far along in the character development to be like, no.
Yeah. And then like the other thing is literally right after he does it, he's like they're all jovial and talking, and he goes
Yeah, no.
regeneration a little bit too much, and then Nardol's like, no, I thought it was a nice touch. Just like, no, it was actually too much. Sorry.
Yeah.
In universe, it was too much.
Yeah, and then like I get that there's stuff going on, but like just the level of that's the kind of shit that would have gotten Ace to walk the fuck out in the expanded universe. Like Bill like comically underreacts to it, I feel.
That's also weird coming right off of like the conversation itself, even though it's kind of out of character for the Doctor to be acting that way. Bill's acting in that scene is amazing.
Yeah.
Before that point. And it's like
no, like the issue with the comical underreaction isn't like Pearl Mackey's fault. It's the episode just kind of shrugging it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do feel like there should have been a little bit more trust issues after that, but like
yeah.
Eh.
Yeah. And it's like with all this that we've said negative about it, I have like all these positive things written down about this episode. Like I like the propaganda video cold open.
Yes, that's
like,
good.
I like the way they convey the change in world is like very visually interesting, and like it looks good, and like the truth thing, I'm gonna say this is one that I'm gonna pluck out of my notes and just say I kept seeing the truth thing and I could not stop thinking about Truth Social. It's just, I don't know why my brain went to that, but
fake news.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also the thing. Okay, this episode came out in 2017, and when was this film? Let's see. Do we have known filming dates here?
Well, there's a line that gets dropped from Bill, which implies that at least one of these two episodes were written after Trump was elected.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's what I was thinking, where it's like they kind of just like again I know writers that use subtext and they're all cowards. Don't like pussy out and just do like a brief haha acknowledgement. No, go whole hog. Go all the way in. Yeah.
I can't believe they did an
also be a
Orange
good
Man
writer
joke.
though. We don't need any more Jack Robertsons in our Doctor Who.
Well, yeah, but that was Chris Chibnall.
Yeah, so just be a good writer and you'll be fine.
Like, yeah, and I'm not even. You don't even need to make it about Trump. Just like, and again, as was stated earlier, like some of you saw. Like, you guys felt like you said you saw a bit of, like fascism in there. Yes, okay, cool. But again, like, there's no ideology or other, like, gain underneath this. So it just feels kind of like it feels very half-baked. The Doctor even pays
lip service to it in his weird Doctor speech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm calling him Weird Doctor. I don't know why I'm doing that, but
because of Deltarune.
Hey, the weirdo.
You know
baby.
what? That's probably the energy that I was getting at. That was not on purpose, but
yeah,
that's probably.
I
what
mean,
I
mean, I don't think I've heard anyone call it the weird route since Chapter 2 came out, but like that's what it was initially called. I think that's what it's called in the files.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's like that's it's a mismatch. If it was series 8, 12, or if they gave it to someone completely different like 7, I can see it working a lot better. But at this point, when it's like the complete opposite of 2 seasons of character development, it just feels like what are you guys doing?
Yeah. And it's like I'm not even enjoying watching it either. It's like, it's not even, I want to see this happening in a different context. It's more, this is really frustrating. to
Yeah.
watch, which is it's annoying because like it's a good scene. It's like kind of there are nuggets of good things in the scene, and like there are a lot of good scenes in Lie of the Land, and like like again there was another thing that was there was another element of Bill like kind of losing her grip on the truth about the past,
Yeah.
and like feeling like she's giving in to the to the programming, and I'm like, damn, that's a very specific feeling. And it's like I know this is not necessarily the episode because like there's part of it that's me, but like I know exactly what feeling that is, and it hits hard hearing her talk about it.
Yeah. No, it's really honestly it is another case of like if you just like this should have been there should have been another episode in here. They're really like it feels like the interesting part of the story and the part that they want to explore the most is post invasion, but you only get one episode to that, whereas there are two pre-invasion episodes.
Yeah. Why not have both of them be post? Why
I don't
does
know.
Pyramid exist as is? I
don't
feel like
know.
they should have just cut Pyramid entirely. It doesn't matter how they invade.
Yeah.
I don't entirely agree. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
I
think
still like
I
it
think
as an
you can't
episode.
just you can't just jump from extremists to they're already here and invaded.
Well,
Unless
I think you
okay,
could. I
yeah,
think you
unless you cut back and forth, but that's a very daring and adventurous way of doing it that I'm not sure they had the resources to do at that time.
Well,
Honestly,
yeah, but if
I
they had
think
the
you
resources
could just
to do
lead
this
into
story,
it.
they would have just done it better. They would have
I
just
think
done
you
this but
could.
better.
I think it would require a little bit of cutting, but not as much as you're thinking. But also, I like Pyramid enough that I don't think it should have been cut. But I think they could have done it that other way, and it
Yeah.
would also have been fine. But I do like Pyramid, so I'm glad it exists. That's my take.
Pyramid has a couple of interesting ideas in it, but I really do feel like the this is really another case of the end then story, where they just keep happening.
Yeah.
It's like why is the doctor telling them to like attack the pyramid? What that's also
Yeah.
out of character. Like
Yeah.
I wrote down that it was interesting, expecting it to be followed up on, and it wasn't followed up on. And it was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, I guess we're doing this now.
Yeah, no.
You know?
Yeah. So yeah, honestly, that's about all I have to say about these. How about you guys?
I don't know. I like the sort of stint at the start of the second episode where we see how fucked up things are. I know it's very stereotypical fascism
Yeah.
commentary media, especially of the British sort. It's very 1984 V for Vendetta type stuff, but I don't know. I'm always into that. I'm a basic bitch like that.
Yeah, but they don't really explore it at all. So if I really wanted to like do like any of that aesthetic, I'd just watch Equilibrium so I could watch some sick ass gunfights. There ain't no sick ass gunfights in this show, and that's fine. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I liked the intro. A funny thing is they use standard definition archive footage of the Angels because they don't have. I guess they just chose to use footage from.
Yeah,
from
that's
Blink
weird because
instead
all of
the
Moffat was in
HD
HD.
ones.
Yeah.
That was weird. What else?
I will
There's-
say,
There's
I
a
will
Magpie
say as
Electrical
much
shout-out at the start.
I will say as much as I just realized as much as I have complained about the beginning of this episode, it is still better than the beginning of Sonic Forces.
Okay, that's not a high bar.
That's not a high bar, I know.
That's the bar is like on the floor. Like,
Okay, but
all
also
they had to do is step over it.
Okay, but also Sonic Forces does... It's not entirely on the floor because Sonic Forces has Knuckles monologuing about the horrors of war, which is one of the funniest things Sega has ever done. But it's still pretty low.
Clearly, you've not played Shadow the Hedgehog.
No, yeah. All right. Anyways.
Okay. I have more stuff on my list.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
this is just random things that I noticed. So, speed round, I guess. Yes, white Jeeps with UN written on them in Arial font.
Nice.
I saw those and I think I burst out laughing. I don't know, but they're just funny. Like, what?
Yeah.
It's just white vehicles with UN written on them, and like,
Yeah.
yeah. I liked how there was a little tidbit at the start of Pyramid where 12 prompts Bill into, like, kind of coming to her own conclusion about what the pyramid is. She just kind of like lets Bill have a go, and it's like it's a fun student teacher thing. It's just like, yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. Also, like, I liked Missy in Lie of the Land, not that she was really around much.
Yeah.
She will be around more later, so I'm not going to get real on their ass for it, but it is like, yeah, she's only here for like 10 minutes.
Mhm. What else? I have another Sonic reference because it's a pyramid.
Hey, I'm in the pyramid, baby.
So that's why they call it the Skeleton Dome.
Oh my god. So, the monks in the plane looked really, really stupid. And that one I actually burst out laughing.
Yeah.
Because it was so
I do think the
stupid
monks'
looking.
villains are kind of dopey because, like, they're clearly kind of just the silence recycled.
They do
Yeah.
kind of have silence energy about them.
Yeah.
Actually,
Well, yeah, because
yeah.
especially when they pull
what?
out the
I'm gonna say-
electricity.
I'm gonna say that even though the monks, on their own, like, impose a much more serious threat, the silence feel a lot more threatening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because of the like, Moffat, like, oh, they have this thing about them. Like Moffat tried to do an Angels thing with them again where you forget them, and it's like that's almost more scary, even though they're less threatening because they like just kill you with lightning or something, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not my first Dead Planet lines that go hard.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was a good line. I wrote down the emotional core hit for Pyramid. The emotional core hits at the end despite how stuck together with shoelaces and hot glue it is. I don't know if note writing me... I don't know if I agree with note writing me. I don't know if I agree with that anymore. Now that I've not just watched it, they could have made that hit with a different episode. I don't think they earned it.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else here? I wrote that I liked the scene at the start with Bill talking to her her imaginary mom, or not imaginary, but just speaking to her mom as kind of a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. I feel like
yeah.
that.
No. I think it's understated. Like, Moffat can have a problem with subtlety, but this was understated enough that I think it worked.
Maybe it helps that Moffat didn't write that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like it's a good character expanding moment for Bill, I think.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the rest of season 10. I feel like maybe this is picking up on something from one of those episodes, but I don't remember. The next thing I write is I wonder how Martha Jones is doing, which I don't think when I
Yeah, me
wrote that
too.
down I even made the comparison to like, oh, she's been in world altering alternate scenarios before this. I think the only reason I wrote that down was like, oh, she's not gone or dead. So like,
Yeah.
she's the only one from New Who who's not gone or dead by this point. And it's like,
Or doesn't remember.
uh, didn't Donna remember at the end of during End of Time, and then like,
Yeah,
she
but
got
they went
knocked out
back
or
to her
something?
not remembering again.
Oh,
And okay,
that was stupid.
so while they're probably going to undo it at some point in the 60th, we're not there yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, the Martha Jones thing that I have now been reminded of, uh, the one of the few things that story has over this one. Well, I say few. I consider that story better than this one overall because a lot of things. But one thing I'm remembering that was good about the resolution of that story was they have a device that like wraps up the story and everyone forgets, and it's not stupid like this one. And
Yeah.
it's like, you know,
It's really silly.
my audio is gonna be a mess. Been putting up my mic to like cough and shit. What else is on
It's
this list
fine.
here?
I have editing software.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah.
The spot check thing is literally over within like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Why did they add that?
Yeah.
And it's like
No,
they
it literally like they go haha to goof and like maybe it builds tension, but like it's filler. It is
It's filler.
absolutely it's filler.
it's filler and it's only like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It's literally the whole thing is done within 30 seconds. There's no reason for it to be there. You know?
Which
like
part?
just have a 1 minute shorter episode. It's fine.
Oh, the very end. Yeah, that's.
It was in the middle when it happened, and then like at the end they kind of not at the end. They kind of after Weird Doctor is after the regeneration fake out, they kind of have a jest about everything that's happened so far in the episode, and that's not earned.
Yeah.
And that's yeah. Again, I buy the explanation, but it needed another draft, and it's sort of out of character for the Doctor to do it.
I rip to Stephen Moffat's mom though. That sucks, dude.
Yeah.
Womp womp.
I have the "you forgot" thing is not funny. Ironically enough, I briefly forgot what that meant. No, they have a goof. They have a goof where one of the soldiers apparently forgot to switch his ammunition out for blanks, and it's like, what the fuck?
That's
What
a
the
little.
fuck? Why is
That's
that there?
funny. That's a little.
That's
It's
funny.
it's funny, but it's like, it's also like, that's kind of fucked up. Why is that here?
It's the fact that it's fucked up is why it's so funny. Like, yeah, the Doctor could have gotten shot. We're just gonna move on with it.
Yeah.
And,
we stand
okay,
Missy,
so the
obviously.
other thing I will say in terms of like, this is also like somewhat understandable given the personal issues going on. This is basically Last of the Time Lords again.
Is it?
Like the well, okay, I guess it does go a little bit of a different way.
Okay,
with it,
so
but
I
like the
think
structure is very similar.
the mechanics of how it wraps up are better, but Last of the Time Lords does a better job at resetting the status quo because that's something both these stories needed to do for some reason. So
It all
kind of comes out in the wash.
which is disappointing because this one has the better master in it.
Yeah. Yeah. I wrote that it was
Anyways.
contrived that the pyramid ended up in London. It's not, because we see it flying later on, but it is a little weird that they make it flying, because they say it just appeared during Pyramid. And
Yeah.
it's like, if it just appeared, then why is it now flying, and why is that how they do it? You know, I think it should have stayed in the same spot. Like, they probably have TARDIS access, so you know, why not? So there's per usual, my memory about this episode was completely like mixed together and messed up, and the ending of this episode I thought was I actually thought that was the ending of the first part of this of Pyramid at the End of the World, and I also got it mixed up with the part of the Zygon two-parter where they're like out in they're in like the desert and stuff, and they're like going around and looking for stuff. I think like Kate is there. I don't remember. I didn't rewatch that episode either. But I got things mixed up in my brain, which really goes to show like these stories are sort of a mess if I'm remembering them this poorly.
Yeah,
You know?
like, so I will say, ultimately, the ultimately the I came away from these a lot more positive than I thought I was going to be when I went in. They got some fucking problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
Part of
Yeah.
it might just be I have the Chibnall perspective now, so there's at least a semblance of something entertaining in these, but like, ugh.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, during the resolution of this episode, it's like they cut back to the hello mom thing at the start. I was convinced she was going to look up and it was gonna be a monk instead of her mom. And I was
funny.
like preemptively laughing at that,
Yeah.
because like that would have been really, really funny. That would have
Uh-huh.
honestly, if they had done that, that would have been, because like you see on the screens that like her memories are like being infected by the monks. The doctor even says that.
Yeah.
If they had gone for that, that would have been so funny. I would have added an extra point to this episode score. So I don't want to dock a point for it not being there, but I would give it an extra point if it were there, because it was, the idea of that is really
Yeah.
funny to me.
No, yeah. No, it would have been really funny if they just went full being John Malkovich with it.
Yeah, that's it for
Anyways.
me.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's move on to ratings. Yeah, as I said, I didn't hate it as much as I expected to. It's still got some problems, and I still don't think I'd come back to it really again if I wasn't like forced to or doing the whole thing. I Pyramid was really rough for me. I'd say that's like a C to a D even. No, it's not a D, it's a C. And Lie of the Land is like B plus. And like, yeah. But I think yeah. I'm rating them together would also be like a C or a C minus. Just yeah. I have some issues with these.
Yeah. There are nuggets of good things in both of these. Lie of the Land more so than Pyramid. I am inclined to say Pyramid C, Lie of the Land B. Altogether, um, if we're taking this as a two-parter, then Pyramid drags it down enough where I think the whole two-parter is C tier.
Yeah.
And it sucks that I didn't get to rewatch Extremis for this, because I actually did have time, even though I didn't think I did. So
Yeah,
I should have just
Extremis
done that.
is very good.
Yeah. It's like I remembered what happened in it. You guys kept mentioning Missy, and I was like, wait, is Missy in that? Because I didn't remember Missy in it at all. But, yeah, I might just rewatch this after we're done. Or maybe I won't. We'll see what happens. But, yeah. Pyramid C, Liveline B, two-parter as a whole C.
All right.
I think I'm more positive on these episodes. Um, I don't know. I think the first one isn't as rough as you're making it out to be. I think even if it's like overall kind of weird in how it fits into the general story, I think the episode on its own is pretty good. And I think this is sort of a trend. We tend to rate episodes on their own more favorably versus how well they fit into the overall stuff going on. But yeah, I would give it like a 7.25. And for the second episode, I don't know. I think I enjoyed a lot of the separate parts of it enough, but I would give it a bit better. I would call it sort of a 7.75. I just think this overall story is interesting enough to me that I'm willing to forgive some of the rougher parts of an obvious first draft script. Um, I don't know. I think a lot of the setup is interesting, and I think the way it plays out is, to me, engaging enough that I'm willing to forgive a lot more of the contrivances.
Fair enough.
I'm inclined to agree with you. I don't feel like rating it higher as a response to that.
I get that. I think I
Like
just was
I was fully expecting
entertained
to come
enough
into
by
this.
it.
I was fully expecting to come into this being like, no, this was good actually. And then Live Land was good, which was the one that I remember being shit talked a lot, so
Yeah.
you know. B doesn't mean bad. I enjoyed Lie of the Land. Pyramid had good stuff in it, even though like the actual events that were going on, that episode felt like it was constructed of contrivances, but there were still good character moments in it, and that's a lot more than I can say about the outgoing era of the show. I'm so happy I can say that. Outgoing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank God, it's finally done.
Chibnall era ended. Sonic fans got to eat. Twitter went down. Yuji Naka got arrested. What else is happening?
Just a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
All right. Well. Yeah. Alrighty. So next week we will be discussing. God, what is it? It's Empress of Mars next.
Yeah, it's Empress of Mars.
All right. Yeah. We're coming to the close of this whole podcast thing. We're getting down to the wire here. You can until then you can follow the podcast on Twitter at B2TARDISPod. You can support the podcast on Patreon for a number of benefits, such as early access to the remaining episodes, the ability to listen in live to the remaining episodes being recorded, and potentially the ability to guest star upon one of the few remaining episodes left of your choosing.
It's like 5. There's 5 episodes left. You gotta be quick about it.
Yeah. I'm Jeff. You can follow me on Twitter at WheatleyDL.
It's my go again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Elise. You can follow me at Elise Mango Milk, but change the 1 in milk to an I. The I in milk to a 1. That's my Twitter. You can find me basically everywhere else. Just chop off the Elise at the start. Tumblr and co-host, I will say, just in case Twitter falls into the sea.
Yeah.
Atlantis.
Oh my god.
All right, am I up?
Yeah.
I'm Service Demon, and you can find my Twitter at Himajoshi Chaser. You can find my Tumblr, if that's a thing we're doing now, at AG Penis. Yeah.
Alright. And yeah. All right. And we will see you all next week.